Hello and welcome to Your Effects, where we teach you how to make Hollywood-style films on a not-so-Hollywood budget. And before anyone asks, yes, we are copying Indie Mogul. Moving on. Have you ever wondered how they do those fight scenes in films like this? Or this? Or even this? Have you ever wanted to try to create a fight scene yourself? Well, you've come to the right place, and it's a lot simpler than you think. Doesn't even require a budget. You're going to need the following. Two actors, a camera, and editing software, preferably any software that isn't Windows Movie Maker. You can also use prop weapons, but for the purpose of this video, we're just going to focus on hand-to-hand fighting. So let's have these actors step away from each other. Further. 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 There. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Whoa, man, how can they lay waste to each other if they're not even next to each other, man? Easy there, rookie. There's a perfectly good reason for this. We don't want them to actually lay waste to each other. We only want them to look like they're laying waste to each other. Think about it this way. The actors you're most likely using are probably your friends, mainly because, well, it's cheaper to use friends than it is to find professional actors who can work for free. And, I apologize in advance for using Care Bear logic, friends, normally, don't intentionally injure friends. Now, if you're a sociopath who likes to see their friends in pain, then here's a better example. You want your actors to be able to do multiple takes, and if they're severely injured or even killed during the first take, that's going to be impossible. Especially if you're using professional actors. No one wants to be given an Oscar posthumously. So like I said, you need your actors far enough away from each other so they don't hurt each other. Now your next step is to figure out where to position the camera. There are a few simple rules to follow when positioning the camera. One key rule to keep in mind is the 180-degree rule. The best example for this is when shooting a conversation scene. Note how in most conversation scenes, when an actor is on screen, they are on one side of the frame. When they cut to the next actor, that actor is on the other side of the frame. The sides they are on stay consistent throughout the entire scene. This is because of the 180-degree rule. Here is an easy way to look at it. Imagine there is a line in the middle of where your actors are positioned. The scenery is on one side, and the crew and equipment are on the other. If you cross this line, what is the audience going to see? That's right, they're going to see the crew and the equipment. If you do that, you might as well wear a neon sign that says in bright red letters, Amateur. So kids, the moral of the story is, don't cross the line. We're going to apply this to this fight scene as well. To explain why this is going to work, we're going to need a little...
As I'm sure you are all aware, most living creatures have two eyes. This is so they can perceive depth and know how far away something is, so that they don't bump into anything dangerous. Now the thing with the camera is that it is made to replicate the human eye with one slight difference. There is only one eye. Only one eye means no clear depth perception, allowing you to play tricks on your audience with science!
Okay. Thank you, mad scientist. Anyway, like he said, the fact that the camera has only one eye, it allows you to play around with depth perception. So that means your shot should look something like this. Now, there's a lot to keep in mind when shooting a fight scene. So here's 3 things to keep in mind that should help you out if you're just starting out. Number 1, it's not the attacker, it's the attacked. What I mean by this is it's not the person who's doing the hitting that makes the shot look convincing, but it's the person getting hit. So let's take this scene for example. Okay, now let's take a look at the scene when the actor doesn't react to the hit. See how bad that looks? That's something you need to watch out for as a filmmaker. Number 2, save the contact for the close-ups. What I mean by this is that when you're shooting your fight scene, avoid having your actors make contact in the wide shots. Save all the points where they do make contact for insert shots, especially if you want to show a really devastating attack. Like so. See what I mean? Number 3, keep it simple. This is a common mistake amongst filmmakers that are just starting out. They tend to make things overly complicated. For example, don't try a wire fighting scene unless you have the technology and the know-how, which, given that you're watching this, most likely isn't the case. Also, don't have your actors attempt any fancy techniques unless they've been trained. And not trained by you, trained by an actual martial arts instructor that has been certified. Why? Because they could hurt themselves. Martial arts instructors will always tell you the same thing. Even masters practice the basics. They're not going to use the fanciest attack to deal with an attacker when it comes down to a real fight. They're going to use the simplest, most effective attack. Oftentimes, the simpler the attacks, the more convincing a performance your actors can give. Something to keep in mind is that editing can do wonders for a fight scene. It could also make it so you don't have to do as much physical work. Whether your fight scene is supposed to be comedic, or if it's a very serious fight scene, or as serious as you want to make it. That's the magic of editing. Before we go, here's a tip on what to do for things like chokes and grabs. A safe and fun way to do a double-handed choke is to have the person doing the choking try to pull their hands away, while the person being choked is keeping their hands there. That way the tension is real, but no one gets hurt. Now you're probably wondering, how can you do this with prop weapons? Well, a lot of the same techniques I've explained can be applied to a scene when you're using prop weapons, but there are a few extra things you need to keep in mind when shooting the scene. Number 1, never, I repeat, never use real weapons on set. It's stupid and it's dangerous. If you absolutely have to use a very real weapon, then save it for the inserts and close-up shots where there isn't a lot of action going on. Number 2, avoid shooting in public places. Think about it this way. If you're shooting in a public park, you may know it's fake, but the people who are just walking by, walking their dogs, they don't know it's fake, and they're likely to call the cops. Again, don't be stupid. Number 3, do what the police officer tells you. If a police officer comes up to you and tells you to drop the weapon, do it. Don't question it. No waving around your weapon going, no, it's a fake. See, it's a fake. Cops have to make a split-second decision about whether or not to shoot in order to defend themselves and the people around them. If they see you as a danger to yourself and others, they're not going to hesitate. So again, when they tell you to, drop the weapon, raise your hands up, and you'll stay on their good side and live to film another day. Keep all of this in mind and you'll have a safe and fun film shoot. And if you don't want to keep all this in mind, then put down the camera. You are a danger to yourself and everyone around you. So that's it. Now you know how to shoot a fight scene. Just keep everything in mind and you'll have fun. Best wishes and happy filming.
Dog black, blue, yellow or pink. 振りかざせ地球圏スクラム組んで目覚めよう